Hello and welcome to the Heights Unedited podcast, where we are not sure what we're doing, and we're so glad that you're joining with us in a new venue.
Okay. So how come the venue changed your producer voice?
I haven't done the intro yet. I just said hello and welcome.
Oh, sorry.
Do you want me to?
I wasn't clearly not paying attention. I was still thinking about the Oreos, Baltimore Oreos.
Yeah,
but it's Orioles.
Yeah, they're.
What is an Oriole?
It's a bird.
Really?
It's a little orange bird.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So, anyways, I hijacked your intro, so maybe you should just do your producer voice.
Well, here we go. Welcome to the Heights Unedited podcast.
It.
Not yet. Episode 100. We got 50 more episodes to go before I wrap it.
50 more before we get there.
Ooh, Unedited, a podcast featuring real conversations about real life, where we dig deeper into the weekend message as well as answering your questions on faith, culture, and life. John, why are we sitting in a different venue?
Yeah, it's a totally different venue with a transparency. Those of you that have been around church for a while, remember the old church basement?
Oh, yeah.
You know? And you got the hand that comes in the corner and straightens the paper.
And you got to switch the lyrics.
You got to switch them. Yeah, you got to do them fast.
Put the other one in.
So that was one of the requirements when you signed up to serve at the church. They were like, how quick is your hand movement?
True.
Sleight of hand.
Sleight of hand?
Yeah.
It's not magic. It's
It felt like magic. As a kid watching it, especially when they would smudge the word.
True. When they smudged the word, it was the worst. You're like, I don't know what I'm going to say.
It was like modern day church when the lyrics don't come up.
Yeah, when they don't come up, everyone's got to just fake it.
You're just there hanging out.
Well, since you haven't told anyone anything about why we're here right now, let me go ahead and do that. We are currently filming in a different location. So if you're listening, you don't know this, but if you are watching right now, you see we're in a different location because we are actually testing this location for a recording that we're going to have for that weekend service that happens right after Christmas.
The new year,
that weekend service right after Christmas, we give an opportunity for our entire church family to gather together with our online family and our online location. And we will be recording that soon. If you don't know, we have to record these things before.
Yeah, I was chatting with Kyle. He told me we have 470 people on the guest services team because he's planning a big dinner for them. So you think it's a weekend when we get to honor people, right? Like they're coming off of Christmas. Everybody's pushed really hard for Christmas in church world and in life, just getting your family to Christmas. And then, it's a chance for us as a church to go, hey, we're going to join online, right? We're all going to be online together, join our online fam. And then also we get to give people rest. Yeah. We get to give them a weekend where it's just breathe, catch up. And then we're heading into New Year with all new excitement.
New excitement and a little teaser for those of you who are our podcast viewers and listeners. You get to know that there will be a special unedited episode for that service because you're seeing it right now. We're testing it out. So there you go. There's
so hopefully it works
for you.
If it doesn't work, we don't know what we're doing.
It doesn't work. Well, I don't know. Speaking of tough weekends, you know how you said, that weekend it's tough after Christmas and all that?
Yeah.
This was a tough weekend in the NFL for this table right here.
It was. Did you see this game last night?
49ers got crushed. My fantasy team got crushed. Your fantasy team got crushed.
It's on the way to being. No, hang on. There's a chance. It's on the way to being crushed. Hold on.
I love the optimism coming out of you right now.
I need 15 from two players. Each player's got to get 15.
Okay.
So I need 30.
Yeah, you need 30. See, you're not even being real with yourself right now.
Yeah, but okay. How many did your running back have yesterday?
He got 40 points, 37 points.
How many times has he done that in the season?
A couple, and we've lost.
Well, mine's never done that.
Well, yeah,
so he's due.
Oh, I thought you were telling me my team stinks.
I don't know how you are. I don't get discouraged sports wise very often, right? But I've seen the Steelers play, I think, game 3 times this season. They've lost every game I've watched them live.
Well,
and last night was so painful. So this is a true story. So when Calvin Austin missed the ball in the fourth quarter, it hits him in the hands and it goes through his hands and it's an interception.
Yeah.
I literally I was so frustrated. I'm like, they should not pay him this week. He should not get a paycheck.
Right?
Your job is catch the ball. It hit you in the hands, catch the ball.
I think that's a great idea. What if that's how they determined the pay?
I think that's how it should work. Yeah. Me and you, if we get up and speak and people are like, what was that? It's like you dropped the ball. All right. Well, we don't get paid that week.
No paycheck. Don't
They
give.
listen
don't
to
give
the
any
pod
ideas
and they're
here.
like, man, those guys
never
Yeah.
even got to any question. Oh,
Yeah.
sorry, that's us right now.
never answered nothing.
Oh, that's so good. I mean,
Another sports
someone who
things.
didn't have a bad weekend was Lando Norris.
I don't know the result yet.
Oh, well, that's
So-
great. How you do? He won both the sprint race and the race. Boom.
Awesome.
Solid weekend.
I'm really excited to finish the race now.
Hey,
no, you know what?
it's Monday. You should have finished
It's
it
just
by now.
I had a lot going on.
Okay, I'm sorry.
I had a lot going on. Because I didn't get the sprint race, I watched the sprint race yesterday.
Oh, okay.
And then I watched the beginning of the race, and it looked like he's set up to win. So,
Yeah. Well, he may or may not
well,
be the winner.
who cares?
All right. Well, we do have some questions coming in. So if you have stuck with us this long, thank you for being a faithful viewer or listener. We really couldn't do this show without you. So thank you so much for that. You can always submit questions, unedited at heightschurch.com. You can always review the podcast, and we'd love to read your 5-star review on the show. But right now we have a question coming in from Isabel.
You missed one.
What I miss?
Hit that like button.
Hit that like button.
If you're watching this,
You're
like we went
watching right
we went to
now.
the energy to make this visual. Man, at least you can do is hit that like
At
button.
least you can do. There you go.
You know what? In the comments, do this. Who's going to win the Super Bowl?
Oh, we're throwing a question out right now.
Why not?
Yeah, so if you're on YouTube, you can do that
Yeah.
right now.
Who's going to win the Super Bowl?
Who's going to win the Super Bowl?
Who do you think?
They're asking me,
Yeah.
49ers. What did you expect me to say?
Mac Jones.
Yeah, no, dude. Brock will be back for the playoffs.
Brock.
Come on,
He'll
dude.
be back for a week.
He'll be back for a week.
I got his back in football. You better carry it.
I know. This is getting crazy. All right. Isabel asked this question. Why do some churches celebrate trunk or treat or
Ooh.
Halloween events? And is it appropriate to celebrate that holiday?
I have a question for you.
Yes.
Have you ever been to trunk or treat?
Yes, I've hosted
What
a couple
happens?
trunks.
What happens at them?
We decorated our trunk.
You're looking at me like, where are you from?
Yeah.
I've never been to a
You've
trunk
never
or
been to
treat.
a trunk or treat?
Never.
Oh, it's awesome, dude.
I've been trick or treating, but not trunk
so
or treating.
all the cars pull up, their trunks, and they decorate their trunk as a theme or whatever, and then people just walk around and get candy from that like theme and stuff. So we did Frozen one year that I was hosted a trunk, and
It's awesome.
It was
What were
awesome.
you dressed up like?
I don't remember if I actually had anything, but like all my kids did, and then
I was
we
gonna say that's
had,
a
like,
shock
giant
that you
blow-up
wouldn't. Normally,
off
like
and-
you're like all in on that.
Oh
stuff.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I know. If I remember right, it was actually the COVID year, and where I lived, everything was completely shut down. So if you are a Prescott person listening to this, you can't relate at all. But if you are from like San Francisco, where I was at that time, it was completely shut down. So we all had masks, gloves, and a long stick with a thing that we put the candy in so that we could reach it out. And people could come get it. Yeah. Yeah, it was pretty wild. I actually think they had to stay in their car even. So they were driving through in their
What?
car, and we had to stick this giant stick out with a bowl on the end.
No.
Yep.
Wait. Okay, hang on. COVID was March, so that's October. You're still.
People do not
You were
understand.
You were locked
If
down for
you
what?
live-
18 months. You said.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. If you did not live in an area like that, you literally have no clue what COVID was like for those of us in those areas.
I feel like somebody should provide counselors for people that went through that.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah, there's a
Or
lot
at least
to
an
that.
early sabbatical for somebody.
I mean-
I'm just saying. It
Or-
doesn't. Okay, back to the
Can you
question.
imagine
though.
the kids like trying to tell their kids someday, like, no, we had this Halloween and like you just drove by in a car and took it out of a basket from some stranger with a long stick. Like what?
What? That's literally what happened.
Wow.
So
okay, so that's a trunk or treat.
Yeah, that's trunk or treat.
Okay.
That's the one we hosted a trunk. Many others I've been to where we didn't host trunk, but most churches, a lot of churches do them as an opportunity to reach their community and to provide a safe place for families and kids and all that, those kind of things.
Yeah.
I would say to Isabel asking this question, why do they celebrate trunk or treat or do it at their church? To love their community. That's why people do it. That's why people have Halloween events, carnivals. I grew up where our church did that. I've worked at multiple churches that have had those. I am very grateful that Heights does not, for the simple fact that it's a lot of work. It is so much work. But the reason why churches do it is to provide a safe place for families to bring their kids and have fun. And dressing up and doing those things is fun. Candy is good. Like,
yeah, and there's such a cultural moment for us, right? Like, so in our town, the difference would be is I feel like there are very safe spaces you can go to. So as a church, we've never entered into, we need to provide an event because of a lack of safety or whatever, right?
Yeah.
For people to come to. So like for our family, Mount Vernon Street, we've done it for years. We didn't do it this year. And I had surgery last year. So it's been a couple of years that we haven't, but like Mount Vernon, we would go before it gets dark. Right. And the city has actually paid houses to put on that event. So it's this community event that when you walk, it's like crazy how many people we meet that just, it literally feels like a community event, which your trunk or treat would. Right. And so I think that it's a moment for us as a church where we can engage in a way with the community that is natural and doesn't have to engage in all of the other stuff that goes along with Halloween. I'm the first one. Like, I'll put my hand up. I hate the TV, like, advertisement. As soon as October rolls around, I'm like so over it because you can be watching football and then the most grotesque whatever comes on, and we've got kids and you have to navigate that for however many days. And so it's just frustrating that part of the cultural piece of Halloween, right? Like, and
that gets into the second part of this question. Is it appropriate to celebrate that holiday? Which I think is more of what the heart of what Isabel's asking here. And what I would say is it depends on how you're celebrating it. There are some dark things that happen in Halloween. It's terrible. But if you look back at even the history of it, it's the church has a history of redeeming things that were bad.
Right.
And it's almost gone the other way. It was All Hallows Eve is where Halloween started. It was the day before, this All Hallows Eve thing. And so the day that they would celebrate this, and it was before All Saints Day. Right. Like, that's what it was for.
Right.
And then it went the other way to turn into something very dark, very demonic.
Right.
And don't get me wrong, there's a ton of that stuff that does happen.
Right.
If you're participating in that the occult is real.
Right.
Demons are real.
Right.
The enemy is real. Those things are real, and that is not something to mess with. That is not something to play with. However, if you're celebrating it in a way where it's just for fun and community, that's different than celebrating the evil and the darkness. And I would say I hate the evil and the darkness, even with some of the houses that we see decorated. I go, and that's gross. That's terrible. Like, that is not something to be celebrated.
Yep.
My house, my kids are dressed up as a chicken and a princess and a cow, a little
so
Woody
good.
from Toy Story. And, like, I was wearing a bald eagle costume because I'm the bald eagle. And you know what I mean? And so there is a way where it's like, man, how you're going to celebrate it is we're not celebrating demons and darkness. We're celebrating just the idea of having fun and community and redeeming it in that way.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree. I think there's a redemption quality to it. And I think that's what churches are trying to do, right? Like when they do a trunk or treat, they're trying to redeem something for their community.
Yeah.
And create, like you said, a safe space for that. I think too, you have to know what you're engaging in. Mm-hmm. And so if you're going to, like, for example, some of my kids' friends were going to a haunted house. Well, I'm not going to let my kids go to a haunted house, right? Yeah. Like, that's not the part of this that we can step into and be a part of. And so you just got to figure out for you where that lies. And I would just say, do your homework, right? Yeah. Like, ask the questions. And as you ask the questions and step into that, like, you have to be convinced it's your walk before the Lord. And I think so often we're looking to some large organization to tell us, hey, you can do this, you can't do this. Well, you got to walk with Jesus and you got to figure out what's appropriate. I know in my own life, like, people that I'm connected to very closely have nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
Right. And would look at us and go, they disagree, but also give the grace to go, you got to make your own decision.
Well, and I think that's anything, right? If that is something that is going to cause you to stumble, or maybe somebody close to you to stumble, then you decide for yourself, hey, I'm not going to celebrate this. I would say that is the same as when it comes to some of the other freedoms or liberties that we have in Christ. for instance, drinking alcohol.
Yeah.
Dude, there's appropriate time or place. And there's a lot of people who've said, hey, I'm not going to drink any alcohol at all. And that's okay. There's no judgment or disrespect, as then there shouldn't be for somebody who says, hey, in moderation, I will.
Yeah.
And I know it's getting us into a totally different topic here, but
that's the nature of it. Yeah.
You have a freedom to abstain or to participate in, as long as it doesn't cross into those evil realms.
Yeah. And I know, like, this is this question is relevant. Like, so I know you're off social media, but like leading up to it, Forrest Frank posts a video from somebody who was in the satanic church and his opinion and speaking to the evils of Halloween, right? And you know, like Forrest is putting this out there and people are looking for somebody to tell them what to do. Mm-hmm. I would just say that the whole point of you having the Holy Spirit, the whole point of this is to you to grow in listening to him. And if you listen to that and you go, hey, I can have no part of this, then that's a beautiful journey for you, equally to Todd's daughter being dressed like a chicken, right? Like there has to be grace to go, hey, you got to walk with the Lord and figure this out, right? And yeah, if it's clearly evil, that's a different conversation, right? Like if you're going clearly to a baby sacrificing ceremony, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like some things are like, okay, that's obvious. Like, but if you're going to a trunk or treat versus trick or treating, and one is more holy than another, like we're way off base of our faith.
Yeah, well, hopefully that helps answer that question for you. Love questions that have real life application. Yeah. So I mean,
and we all wrestle with it, right?
Yeah,
like
it's
culturally,
great
it's coming
question.
around in a year. It's coming back.
Yep, it's coming back. Yep. So thanks for submitting that question. Let's hop into the weekend and recap this weekend's message, what we talked about as we continued this collection that we've been in on how do we live generously. Like none of us want to live stingy, right? Like that's not what you're setting up your grandson for, is like, I just want you to be stingy. Like, so how do you live this out? And you opened with this idea of how the game of life, the board game was won, and the one who has the most money wins in life, right? Yeah. Like, and I think that obviously that's how that game was played, but like that's how life happens. And even if you don't set out for that to be how you live your life, it creeps in. Like, why do we let that mentality creep in to us and how we live so often?
Yeah, I think it's natural from the culture we live in, and we kind of talked about that this weekend. But you know, I was shocked. I had no idea. Like my kids play that game. I've played it with them, right? And so I've never. I mean, it's not even one of my favorite board games. It's just one we have that we play occasionally, right? And grew up playing it, and I just had this creative idea with it. That the creative idea actually never came full circle. But in the research of it went, wait a minute, this goes back to 1860. And the way you won back then had to do with your moral choices and your virtue and living to this. To go from there to where we are, I was like, it feels like a different game, right? And yet culturally, you look at what is driven, what the idea is of, I talked about it in some services, but even in the game of life, right, that I can trade my salary card with you, right? Like that if I'm not satisfied with it and yours is better, then clearly I'm going to take yours, right? Never in that game have I ever gone, hey, I have 80 and you only have 20. Here, give me the 20, right? Because you lose. And yet the upside down kingdom, God may call you to give the 80, right? Like, and so it just became this like within this, okay, culturally, this is not new. And I said it really well. You know how it is when you say it 4 times, you eventually get better and say what you actually were hoping you would say. And I think at the 11:15, it came full circle on me that what is around us and what we are geared towards, this idea of whatever that amount is, that's how I actually succeed and that's how I actually win. Yeah. And you look at that and go, like, that's life for my kids. That's what's geared towards them. I mean, back in the 70s, we would have called it the American dream. 80s, we would have called it the American dream, right?
And that's the world we live in.
Right.
Is, you want this, you want that. I mean, advertisements are made to make you want to buy something.
Yeah.
And then make you want to feel that feeling of if I buy this, then I've
Yeah.
arrived.
You want to go on a rabbit trail? So social media, right, is just a fancy way of putting advertisements in front of you,
Oh yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
they are buying your time
Yep.
to put something in front of you that you will click on and add to your
Yeah, that's the
already
point of
full
it.
closet,
Yeah.
right?
That's the point of
Yeah.
it.
And here we are thinking, oh no, it's a social tool that I stay in touch with Todd and I see what his kids did at
and
the soccer
thing
tournament.
is that that's what algorithms are.
Uh-huh.
Right. We've heard people complaining about advertisements that they've had on various platforms. You know why you get the advertisement you get? Because that's what you're into.
Yeah.
If you're getting for a product or you're getting for a political party or you're getting for whatever it is, you know why? You've trained them to say, this is what I'm interested in, you know, and that's what we do.
What's weird is my phone listens to us every week talk about Oreos and never get an Oreo commercial on it. Never get an Oreo commercial.
Because they're all like, oh, they're getting them anyway. They're
already eating too many. But yeah, I think just recognizing, that's what I was saying at the 11:15 was it's not neutral, right? Like our culture is not neutral. It's not something that we live in and we get to kind of carve where no, it is putting pressure on us, and that pressure is specifically, and you know, the American dream idea, it used to be a house with a picket fence, right? And your 2 whatever kids.
Mm-hmm.
And that was enough.
Yeah.
That is not it anymore, right? Like it's well, I got a house, then I need a couple of acres because I need a couple of horses. Well, and then I need an extra garage for my RV. And then, you know, like we've just kept adding and adding and adding. I was laughing, well, not laughing, I was chatting with Cindy about if you're watching President Trump right now, this might be a hot take, I don't know. If you're watching President Trump right now, he's building a ballroom. I just saw something this week that he wants the Commanders, they're building a 3.8, I think it's 3.8 billion or $3.5 billion stadium.
Wow.
He wants it named after him. And so you can just see Trump going, I mean, the man has amassed more money, right? But he's looking at legacy and going, what can I put my name on to be remembered, right? Like, and it's just interesting that that's the culture we're in, that if you somehow arrive with enough money, then now start doing things that your legacy will be remembered, your name will be remembered longer. And it's just subtle. It just happens to us.
And I think it creeps in for all of us too. We went shopping yesterday. We were down in Phoenix. And so after we went shopping, and shopping for us is looking. Yeah. We can't afford anything, you know. And all my kids were fine with that, except for one. It kind of creeped in and we're leaving. And she's like, we're like, what's wrong? Are you okay? And she's like, well, every place we went, there was stuff I wanted and I couldn't get anything. And I'm like, yeah, that's
hard.
It's life. It's hard, but it's exactly that what we just talked about. The one who with the most money wins in life, right? Yeah. And we feel the pressure of that because we're surrounded by it. Yeah. And so we allow it to change the way that we live and the way that we even approach generosity. Yeah. Because why would you give when you can have or when you can hold? Yeah. Right.
Well, and if you give, then if you follow that train of thought, if you give, you're losing, right? Because the goal is to amass. And somewhere along the way, we get this idea of, okay, I'll amass to a point where it'll be enough, and then I'll give. Yeah. Well, you haven't trained generosity as a muscle, right? Like it's this part of us that has to be developed and trained and shaped. Right. And that's over a lifetime. And that's why I think with, you know, you look at what God did with first fruits in the Bible. Right? Like he was training them that there's no guarantee when you took the first fruits from a harvest that something wouldn't happen and the rest of the harvest disappear. Right. But he's training you to what? Honor the Lord first. Yeah. And so I think even in that, like that, we have our own version of that.
Yeah. Well, so let me ask you this, because you said this in the message as well. About this idea.
I get nervous when you quote me. I'm not gonna lie.
I know. Well, it was an idea. There's no quote here, but the idea of religious generosity. Yeah. Right, where you are generous as an act of religiosity of, man, I need to do this. I need to check off my list. God, look at me. Here it is, whether it's tithing, giving, whatever it is in that. Like how do we switch from, like, how do we fight against, I guess, religious generosity and actually live truly generous lives?
Yeah. This is off the top of my head. I don't know if I've ever had this thought before. what would it look like to let's just say the 10% rule, right? Let's just play the 10%. 10% is God's.
Mm-hmm.
The other 10% that I set aside is to just live generously. So it's not mine. It's to be given away. And you could split that. Go 5 and 5, get whatever, right? Like whatever. I wonder if that would be a way to exercise the muscle outside of the religious act of giving as a tithe, right? Like, because I think that's where we naturally, and we even, I mean, I've heard it taught this way. I've felt it this way. I was kind of given this, right? Like you give this part, and then the rest is whatever. It's yours for whatever, which I know what's being said there, like honor God first is what's being said. So it's not an incorrect theology, but the idea is that you're strengthening that muscle through this. And what you're left with is now, God, what do you want to do with this? Right. Yeah. And that's the piece that was missing in my life. It was, I've done this, therefore I am good, therefore I am generous, and I'm living the way that God wants me to.
Right.
Versus, and where it really hits me is when I see somebody in need and my heart doesn't move. Or I see somebody in need and I become really cynical.
Yeah.
I become really like analytical of how they ended up there. Right. And that's where the cynicism comes in, because it's like, well, I bet they did drugs, and I bet they, like, can naturally go to create this narrative that it might be true.
Yeah.
And it might not. But what I'm actually doing is, God, I don't want to even engage in the prospect of being generous towards this person. And what God had to do for me is, instead of that conversation, it's a prayer conversation. God, are you calling me right now to step into the need that's in front of me? And if so, how?
Yeah.
Right. And walk with that real time with God. And so I think to your question, like, how do we fight against, if the only time I give is when I feel like I have to, or if the only time I give is when here's the law, then it's probably just a religious act.
Right.
Versus count up outside of that. Where are the times when I'm, and generosity doesn't just have to be I help the person on the corner. Generosity can be, man, I'm living in a way that I hold doors open for people. Right? Like, generosity is I'm living in a way that I actually want the best for you, and I will sacrifice my time for you. I'll sacrifice my resources for you. I'll step in and help and walk along. Like, generosity is so much bigger than, and this idea of a generous life, a bigger life, is somebody that is helping their community, who is, I may not, let's go back to the Halloween one. I may not agree with Halloween, right? But my neighbor's up on a ladder and the ladder looks unsafe. Can I go hold the ladder for him? Right? Like, it's this idea of my eyes are not on me, and I'm fighting against my eyes being on me.
Yeah. And I think the answer to the first idea of, how do we fight against whoever has the most money wins, and the answer to how do we fight against religious generosity versus actually being generous, the answer to all of that is we stay singularly focused on the person of Jesus, which is what we talked about this weekend as well. But I want to ask, stay singularly focused on the person of Jesus. Stay. How do you stay? Because I can focus on him for a second, but then I get distracted by the things of this life, by the things of whatever it is that pull me away from being generous. And, if all of this other things are going to pull me away from being generous, but the answer is focusing singularly on the person of Jesus, how do you stay?
Yeah. I mean, my mind goes to, just hearing the question, my mind goes to John 15, right? This idea of stay, abide, remain is how I think the NIV translates it, but remain and the imagery is the branch, right? And we understand, like, if I cut the branch off, it's going to die, right? Like, we understand that. And so I think that's why Jesus uses that as, like, stay connected. Like, if you don't stay connected, you are going to die. And I think in the generous life, it's the same concept. And he even hits that, when he goes, life doesn't consist in an abundance of things. And so I think the idea of staying is building life and rhythms. I'm reading a book. I don't know if we've talked about it on here. Reading a book by Carlos Whitaker called Reconnected. Originally, I think it was called Disconnected, or it's a play on words. The idea was that he would do, I think it's 7 weeks without his phone. And it's 2 of those weeks are at a monastery. And what I found fascinating with the monastery is, okay, you've got monks who are, they've got stuff they got to do there, but their life is lived by these bells, and the bells are to set aside time to go pray, set aside time to. This meal is going to be different because it's in silence, and the reason it's in silence is for your focus and attention, right? So I think if we just take a learning from that and go, okay, what in my day is helping me stay? If I spend all of my time on Amazon, or I spend all my time on Instagram and I'm getting ads all the time, or I'm in the mall, which we don't have a mall, maybe Walmart, I don't know, maybe that's your thing. But whatever it is, right? Like if I keep putting myself in spaces and places where my attention can go, and I don't have these rhythms to go, okay, Jesus, like I need to be reminded who I am. Right. I need to be focused on you. I need to set my heart. And so I would say it's probably within the rhythms of your day.
Yeah. No, that's good. And the idea of abide too is, man, Jesus was the most generous.
Yeah.
So if we're getting closer to him and we are abiding in him, we will then overflow with being generous.
Yeah.
If you're not becoming more generous in your life, I have a question. Are you becoming more like Jesus?
Yeah.
Answer is no.
Yep.
Right.
It's good.
So that's good. Well, this weekend was awesome as we continue in this, excited for as we continue in the generous life and see what comes in the weeks to come there. We do have one more question for us on today's show. This is a big one. Okay. This is a big one. We're crossing into some theological debates here that come with this. But Carol asked this question as an observation, specifically through the book of Exodus. She says this: in Exodus, it says God hardened Pharaoh's heart many times. It seems like a sovereign act of God, and Pharaoh had no choice in hardening his heart. In the New Testament, God fulfills Isaiah's words by hardening the Pharisees' hearts. But Jesus says that he came so that everyone who believes will not remain in darkness. Would they have believed if God didn't harden their hearts? It makes me wonder if there are differences in people, that some are meant to be saved while others, like Pharaoh and his Pharisees that are vessels of dishonor, are not meant to be saved. And just so we get a full picture of it, Carol sent a lot of verses to support where she's getting the ideas for both of the, or for all of these in her question as well, which we don't have time to read all those verses. But basically the question comes down to people like Pharaoh, people like the Pharisees. Does God harden some hearts and not harden others? And if there are differences in people where some are meant to be saved while others are not meant to be saved.
Yeah, I love I don't know how you feel. I love the wrestling, right? Like there's so much genuine wrestling with Scripture of, hey, I see this, I see this, I see this. And so does it therefore mean this? Yeah. And so that's beautiful. I think what stands out from her question is heart. And I think when you look at what Scripture also says about the heart, right? Like what is in somebody's heart is what they're going to do. And so when you look at God, specifically in the area of Pharaoh, the question is, okay, does God make Pharaoh do something that's evil? Well, the answer is no, right? Like that.
Pharaoh's already evil.
Pharaoh is already evil, right? Like Pharaoh was already leading a kingdom in a way that was very oppressive. He was dehumanizing people, right? Like he was worshiping other gods. And he was the one that was building the empire to do that at a grander scale. Right. So when you look at Pharaoh, again, back to the neutral thing, he's not neutral, right? Like, and if we really want to follow the narrative of Scripture, no one's neutral. Right. So when you look at Pharaoh, the word hardening, I'd have to do research on this to make sure I'm 100% accurate on this. I'm sure somebody can help us in the comments if not. But when you look at the word hardening, it has to do with solidifying. It has to do with amplifying, if you like. It has to do with what is already there. It's going to allow to continue. It's going to solidify what's there. It's going to, and so when you look at Pharaoh, he's already there. Yeah. God just allows him to remain there, right? Like God just allows him to intently, and then you think of the Pharisees. The Pharisees were very much building their own kingdom. The Pharisees aren't neutral, right? Like the Pharisees, so much so that they're not neutral that they kill Jesus, right? Like they're and so when it talks about hardening the hearts, it's that idea of solidifying what's there. It's allowing what's already in motion. It's allowing it to continue to a more extreme version of what it is, right?
Yeah.
So in those contexts, it's God, at least seemingly, right? Like evil is already there, and God is essentially just going, I'm going to let it amplify. I'm going to let it solidify, whatever the correct kind of wording is in that. But he's not creating evil. He's not making Pharaoh do something.
Right.
He's going, hey, this is in your heart to do. I'm just going to let you do it.
Yeah.
Right? Like I'm not. So then within that, like working through to, would they have believed if God didn't harden their hearts? Well, judging by what you've seen prior, judging by actions, judging by what's in the heart, you would have to go, no.
Yeah, probably
Like,
not.
Like God wasn't making them not believe.
Yeah.
What was inside of them and what's inside of every human is we're drawn away from God, not towards God, right? Like, which is why the gospel is him coming to us. And so within that, then the idea of, are some meant to be saved while others aren't meant to be saved? Well, the gospel's really, really clear, right? Like when you get to the New Testament, words of Jesus, right? Like anyone who believes.
Yeah.
Right. Like it's
I've
not
come for the sick, not for the healthy. I mean, so many words of Jesus. I came to seek and save the lost. Straight up what he said.
Yeah.
God is not willing that any should perish, but all should come to repentance.
Yep.
There's a lot there.
Yeah. And I think when it's so clear that he came for all, that for me, the position I take is I can't therefore then say, if Jesus is saying I came for all, to then go, well, actually, when I said all, what I meant was just this group of people.
Yeah.
What I meant was just now what God does and how someone is drawn to church and someone is not drawn to church, right? Like, I don't know. Like,
yeah, and I think so. This is such a highly debated topic right now. We haven't put the words to it that would clarify it as what it is, but this is so debated across so many. This idea of, is some called to salvation and some not, and are they picked? You guys get to, and you guys don't get to. The ins and the outs, all of those things, and I do think there is evidence on both sides of this that you can look at in Scripture and go, man, I see truth in that.
Yep.
Man, I see truth in that. And it leaves us going, we as humans want to know what is the answer.
Right.
The truth is you don't get to know what the answer is of anything. God is the one who does that. We are then to trust God.
Right.
Here's where I think I would make a case that it doesn't matter, because it doesn't change what you do. It doesn't change what I do. It doesn't change what we've been called to.
Yep.
He said, go and make disciples.
Yep.
It's not your job to pick and choose who gets to be made disciples or not. That's up to God. And what he does with that is in his hands, and I don't get a choice in it.
Yep.
Right? What I know is that he said, for God so loved the world. It wasn't pieces of it. It was all of it.
Yeah.
For God so loved the world. And I came to seek and save the lost. So some aren't lost, or what? I mean? Like there is very clear that I go, okay, I know this of God, and I know that he's called me to say, hey, if you're going to follow me, you're going to be like me. If you're going to be like me, then you're going to care about those that are far from me.
Yeah.
And your job is to make disciples of them. So my job doesn't change whether God picks some to be saved and picked others to be saved or not.
Right.
Now, what my personal convictions are on that is I see what you just laid out when it comes to who God is and his character, which we can judge on. But again, I know there's arguments for both sides.
Yeah.
And whether it's true or not, whatever's the right answer, it's not up to me. That's up to God. And I'm okay trusting God with that, knowing that it doesn't change how I act within it. I've been called to act this way no matter what. And what God does in his hands, I'm not God, so I can't say.
Right. And I think a lot of times those arguments, because I lived through them, I mean, they raged when I was in college and we were going through specifically with our mission organization. I mean, this was one where people were dividing lines over.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Like to the point where I would even say that, well, we can't even be on the same mission together.
Yeah.
Which, to your point, when you look at what it actually means, you still are on mission.
Yeah.
Whether you like it or not, when you say yes to Jesus, you're now on kingdom mission, right? And so within that, these arguments, I think sometimes are to try and make us feel better, blame God, figure out all the details so I feel comfortable. Let's be honest, sitting in attention going, I don't know how this all shakes out. I know the words. I see the words, right? Like you read the word chosen in scriptures, and it can become easy to go build this narrative of what that means, right? Like it can become easy. So for me, I just go, wait a minute. What I know is this is true. How that works out with that, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But I'm okay going, God, you are sovereign, and you will figure out how that shakes out in eternity.
Yeah.
What I know today is exactly what you said. I need to love people like Jesus would love them. Yeah. I need to care about their eternal, because I don't know what their eternal destiny is.
Yeah.
I don't know what their future is. So therefore, today I'm going to be your ambassador. Today I'm going to step in and I'm going to follow.
Yeah. Carol, great question. And I think,
question.
Carol, you asked it in such a great way as well.
Yeah.
I think the danger with some of these questions, that people plant a stake on either side so firmly, and they forget the mission part of it. They forget the kingdom mission, and what is becomes spiritual or theological arrogance.
Yeah.
I'm right, and I'm here to win an argument instead of point you to Jesus. You end up sinning, arguing about theology.
Yeah.
Because there's arrogance, because there's pride, which was the original sin, which is what got Satan cast out of heaven like a bolt of lightning, is because of pride. And I think that in the church, when we start debating things like this and start planting flags and getting upset about it, we then start sinning more than whether you're right or wrong on a topic with your spiritual pride and arrogance.
Well, I mean, to go back to the weekend, it's the Pharisee going, Messiah, okay, let's just stop there. You didn't wash your hands.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
You completely missed. You had God himself sitting at your table.
Right.
You completely missed that.
Yeah.
Because you were irked because his hands are ritually unclean, right?
Yeah.
And I think some of these arguments we can get so introspective and so kind of in the weeds that it distracts us from the mission that God's given us.
Yep.
And when we do that, man, everybody loses, including us.
Well, Carol, thanks again for that question. If you have a question that is burning on your soul and you're going, I got to ask this question.
What do you do?
Please submit it unedited at heightschurch.com. Actually, even if it's not burning, you're like, I got a question, send it, because the truth is we don't have any left. So please send in some questions. We need questions so we can continue. John, what did you think of episode 51 being in a new space right now?
I'm not going to lie. It's a little weird. It's a little weird. Big for a conversation of this nature.
Yeah.
Yep. But
it
works. It works.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for being with us. We would love for you to review the show. We'd love for you to share it with a friend of yours who needs to hear this. We'd love for you to submit a question. And if you have made it this far, you are a part of the End of the Podcast Club.
I wasn't sure if it would work in here.
It was well, because it's like a different sound.
Yeah.
I don't understand why it wouldn't work in here. Oh man, that's good. And if you're a part of the End of the Podcast Club, we love you just a little bit more because you make it to the end of the episodes when we banter about terrible NFL weekends, when we talk about Oreos, when all those things happen, and you're still a part of the club. So thank you guys so much.
Not to be confused with Baltimore, just so we're clear.
Yeah, I don't even know how that happened, how you got there,
well,
but
sounds the same. Welcome to English.
Here we go. Final thought that we have for you guys today is this. We are constantly being sent messages all around us to live in a way where we want to gain, where we want to pad our life, but God has called us to live generous with our life. And the way that we do that is by being singularly focused on the person of Jesus. So bring your focus back. Focus on him, and out of that, we overflow generosity to those around us. Thank you guys so much for being with us. We love you. See you next week.
Love you.